Good morning, everyone. Darshan this side from LeapQuest, and thank you for taking the time to join this session today. Over the last few years, while working closely with applicants targeting the world's most competitive MBA programs, be it the M7s, INSEAD, HEC, Oxford, ISB, Booth, and others, one very consistent pattern has emerged. The strongest applicants are not necessarily the smartest, nor the ones with the highest test scores. The strongest applicants are the ones who understand the MBA admissions in not a 2 month writing exercise. It is a 6 months of positioning exercise. Every year, I speak with highly capable professionals planning to apply in round one for the August and the September deadlines, and very often I hear the same statement. I'll come back after my GMAT in the month of April or May. Now, logically, this feels like the right sequence, completing the test, and then starting the applications. But the reality is slightly different. Between June and September, candidates are not just working on 2 to 3 essays. So you're going to work on 35 interdependent documents across multiple schools, even if you're considering 5 colleges, each evaluating candidates through its own lens of leadership, contribution potential, and intellectual vitality. Which means by the time June begins, the strongest applicants are not discovering their stories, they're refining them. Because essays do not create the differentiation. Experiences create essays, clarity creates positioning, positioning creates differentiation, and differentiation creates admissions. Today's session is designed to help you understand how top applicants think 6 months before the deadline and why the work done before the GMAT or the pre-GMAT activities often determines the strength of the final outcome, because GMAT is only a score, but the admit is the real strategy. Elite MBA admits are rarely the outcome of the last minute effort. They are the result of the structured preparation that converts professional experiences into intellectual positioning. The most competitive applicants treat the MBA journey as a strategic project, where each professional decision between March, April, and May contribute to how their profile is perceived by the admissions committee, and schools are not evaluating isolated achievements, they're evaluating patterns of behavior that signal leadership trajectory, clarity of goals, and the ability to contribute meaningfully within the global classroom environment. At LeapQuest, we describe this process as profile architecture, a structured methodology designed to transform a working professional's trajectory into the global competitive candidacy. This involves strengthening narrative clarity, building leadership signals, demonstrating intellectual curiosity, and ensuring alignment between past experiences and future ambitions. In highly competitive applicant pools, competence is assumed. What differentiates candidates is the preparation depth, coherence of direction, and evidence of initiative over time. And why top applicants prepare early? See, round one applicants demonstrate stronger clarity of thought because they allow themselves sufficient time to reflect deeply on their professional journey and future aspirations. Early preparation creates space for strategic thinking, enabling candidates to identify patterns in their experiences and articulate motivations with precision. Admission committee interpret this clarity as intellectual maturity and seriousness of intent, which significantly influences the interview conversion rates and even the final decision. Another important advantage of early preparation is scholarship positioning. Many top MBA programs allocate a substantial portion of merit-based scholarships in round one, prioritizing candidates who demonstrate leadership potential, initiative, and a strong contribution mindset. When essays, CV, and recommendations reflect a well-developed narrative supported by real achievements, the candidate signals long-term commitment and professional seriousness. Early preparation therefore impacts both admission probability and even the financial outcomes with respect to the scholarship. The two-phase strategic model. The strongest applicants separate profile building from application execution. Phase 1, between March and May, focuses on strengthening the depth of the profile through leadership initiatives, certifications, intellectual engagement, and clarity of career direction. During this phase, candidates consciously develop experiences that demonstrate initiative and growth, ensuring that when writing begins, they're not searching for stories but selecting from meaningful examples that reflect genuine progression. Between June and August, which is phase 2, focusing on translating this strengthened profile into structured application documents, including essay, CV, and letter of recommendations, is the ideal thing. Because the thinking process has already been completed, the writing becomes significantly more effective and intellectually coherent. This separation reduces last minute stress, minimizes the revision cycles, and allows for more sophisticated positioning across multiple schools, each with distinct evaluation criteria. While GMAT scores demonstrates academic readiness, They rarely differentiate candidates within the competitive applicant pool. Admission committee evaluate trajectory, initiative, and contribution potential. They look for evidence of leadership beyond the formal job responsibilities, intellectual curiosity beyond mandatory tasks, and clarity of direction beyond short-term career goals. Candidates who demonstrate initiative outside structured work environments signal a proactive mindset highly valued in collaborative academic settings. Certifications demonstrate intellectual readiness for rigorous coursework. Leadership initiatives reflect the ability to influence outcomes beyond formal authority. Community engagement signals empathy and contribution mindset. Career clarity demonstrates structured thinking and long term vision. Together, these elements create a multidimensional profile that indicates readiness for complex global business environments. Now, how do we design a globally competitive profile? A globally competitive profile demonstrates balance across analytical ability, leadership exposure, global awareness, and social contribution. Candidates who consciously develop depth across these dimensions signal readiness for complex business environments requiring both strategic thinking and interpersonal effectiveness. Admission committee value applicants who show evidence of continuous growth rather than static professional achievement. Each profile building initiative must therefore be aligned with long-term career goals. Random certifications or activities create fragmented narratives, whereas strategically selected initiatives reinforce a coherent positioning theme. The coherence strengthens the credibility of the career goal essays and improves authenticity in interviews, as each component of the application supports the same professional direction. So, what are we planning to do in March? Strategic positioning. March is dedicated for intellectual groundwork. Candidates evaluate potential career directions across consulting, product management, finance, and entrepreneurship, ensuring profile building initiatives align logically with long term ambitions. Profile gap analysis helps identify areas requiring strengthening relative to peer benchmarks with target schools, enabling proactive efforts rather than reactive adjustments later. School segmentation into ambitious, competitive, and safe categories helps structure expectations and preparation intensity. Aligning GMAT preparation timelines with application milestones prevents compression of critical thinking into limited time windows. Early clarity reduces decision fatigue during the peak application months and allows the candidates to approach essay writing with structured conviction. So, technically, college shortlisting, profile gap analysis, and a strategy for each and every college has to be defined in the month of March. Now, let's talk about one of our students who got into INSEAD and HEC Paris. Her name is Stuti Juyal, and she was a BCG consultant. Candidates from globally recognized firms often assume employer brands alone creates differentiation. However, admission committee evaluates thousands of consultants each year with similar responsibilities and achievements. Without thoughtful positioning, even strong professional backgrounds risk appearing comparable within the competitive applicant pools. By strengthening analytical depth through Python or SQL certifications, highlighting leadership visibility through CSR initiatives, and tailoring CV presentation for school-specific expectations, the narrative expanded beyond the consulting execution. Essays, CV, and LORs reinforced complementary strengths rather than separating similar achievements. This multi-dimensional positioning contributed to admits from INSEAD and HEC Paris, along with an Oxford interview invite demonstrating how narrative depth creates distinction. April focus is on external validation. April will be focusing on strengthening the external signals of intellectual curiosity and leadership potential. LinkedIn positioning, certifications, and professional initiatives create observable indicators of initiatives beyond the formal responsibilities. These signals increase credibility when articulated later with essays and interviews, as they demonstrate continuous engagement with learning and professional development. Engagement with alumni and participation in school webinar demonstrates research depth and proactive interest in institutional culture. Early recommender conversations allow supervisors sufficient time to observe leadership behaviors, improving the depth and the specificity of the letters of recommendation. External validation strengthens the authenticity across application components, and that's what we'll be focusing on April. Now let's look into another case study of another exceptional applicant of ours, that is Sawyeem Pathan Ahmed, who got into Kellogg, M7, Rotman with scholarships, and he got waitlisted in Chicago booth and an interview invite from INSEAD. Non-linear career paths often risk appearing inconsistent unless structured into a cohesive narrative framework. Sawyeem's professional journey across industries and geographies demonstrated strong substance, but required strategic positioning to communicate intentional direction. Without narrative structure, diverse experiences may appear disconnected rather than complementary. By quantifying leadership impact across projects involving Aramco and NEOM and highlighting community engagement initiatives, the profile was reframed as globally adaptive and strategically curious. This cohesive narrative positioned him as a candidate capable of contributing cross cultural perspectives within MBA classrooms, contributing to admits from Kellogg and Rotman with huge scholarships, and also an invite from INSEAD. What are the profile building buckets? Effective profile building is not about adding random activities to the resume. It's about strengthening specific dimensions that top MBA programs consistently evaluate. Over the years, a clear pattern has emerged across successful applicants. Profile that demonstrates multidimensional depth perform significantly better than profiles that rely on single strength. Strong candidates typically show evidence of analytical ability, leadership exposure, global awareness, social contribution, and intellectual engagement beyond their immediate job responsibilities. At LeapQuest, profile building initiatives are mapped across structured buckets to ensure each activity contributes meaningfully to the overall narrative. Certification signal intellectual curiosity and readiness for academic rigor. Leadership initiatives demonstrate initiatives beyond formal authority, and global exposure strengthens the adaptability across diverse environments. Social impact initiatives reflect contribution mindset. Thought leadership signals engagement with industry's evolution. Together, these dimensions create a coherent and compelling profile that resonates strongly with admission committees evaluating long-term leadership potential. May will be focusing on the credibility, validation, and proof of initiative. By May, the objective is to consolidate visible signals of growth that strengthen narrative credibility across application documents, quantified professional achievements, improve the strength of CV bullet points, enabling candidates to articulate measurable impact rather than general responsibilities. Demonstrating initiatives through certifications, professional engagement, or thought leadership content signals intellectual vitality and continuous development beyond the structured work environments. Alignment with recommenders becomes particularly important at this stage. Strong letter of recommendations often reflect observable growth over time rather than retrospective praise written under the time pressure. When recommenders have sufficient time to notice leadership behavior, initiative, and professional progression, the resulting endorsements become more authentic and persuasive. This alignment significantly improves narrative consistency across essays, CVs, and recommendations, strengthening the overall positioning of the candidate. Now let's look into another case study of Ankur Dhawan, who was a reapplicant to admit to HEC Paris. Reapplicants often have a unique advantage. They understand the application process but need to demonstrate visible progression since their previous attempt. Admission committees expect evidence of intellectual expansion, leadership development, or broader engagement beyond the candidate's earlier profile. Without visible growth, reapplications risk appearing static rather than reflective of maturity and responsiveness to feedback. In Ankur's case, intellectual curiosity was strengthened through coursework in data sciences and artificial intelligence, signaling adaptability to evolving business environments. Social contribution initiatives such as volunteering with the Akanksha Foundation added depth to the profile, reflecting empathy and contribution mindset. Career transitions were reframed to provide contextual clarity and remove ambiguity around perceived gaps. This structured progression strengthened narrative coherence across essays, CVs, and recommendations, ultimately contributing to an admission from HEC Paris. So, what could be the impact of the pre-GMAT activities? Now, pre-GMAT preparation significantly influences the depth and the authenticity of the application narratives. Candidates who invest time in leadership initiatives, certifications, or community engagement before the application phase are able to provide specific examples demonstrating initiative, problem-solving ability, and collaboration. These real experiences replace generic statements often seen in last-minute applications, improving the persuasive strength of essays. Recommenders are also better positioned to validate their experiences, reinforcing credibility across documents. Interview responses become more structured when candidates have already reflected on their motivations over several months. The result is greater clarity of thought, improved communication confidence, and stronger perceived readiness for MBA classrooms. Preparation depth therefore directly influences the narrative strength across all application components. Now let's look into another case study of Anuj Jaiswal, who got into Kellogg School of Business and Sauder School of Business in Canada. Many candidates begin the MBA journey with a strong academic ability but limited clarity regarding positioning strategy. Anuj's initial profile demonstrated potential but lacked visible indicators of execution momentum. Without measurable signals of commitment, even capable candidates may appear exploratory rather than decisive, creating hesitation within the admission committee's evaluation readiness for demanding academic environments. Through structured preparation planning, commitment to improving the GMAT performance, and proactive involvement in volunteering initiatives, the profile evolved into one demonstrating discipline and seriousness of intent. Early recommender, alignment, and kind of endorsed the reflected consistent positioning themes, and school research enabled more precision articulation of fit and career logic. This transformation strengthened the perceivedness and the readiness for the MBA environments and contributed to admits from Sholek School of Business and UBC Saudar. Now, once we are done with all of these pre-GMAT activities, the transitions to the application phase begins. Once profile clarity is achieved, that focus shifts from experiences development to narrative articulation. Each school evaluates candidates through its own institutional lens, requiring positioning across essays, CV language, and recommendations. Career goals must align logically with program strengths, demonstrating both research depth and realistic professional direction. Early preparation enables deeper customization across schools, allowing candidates to tailor positioning without compromising narrative consistency. Resume language reinforces essay themes while recommendation validates key dimensions highlighted within the application documents, and this alignment significantly improves perceived authenticity and strengthens the intellectual coherence of the overall application. Now let's look into the activities or the focus that we would be having in the month of June. It is more over the story architecture and the narrative structuring. June is dedicated to structuring the intellectual foundation of the application narratives. Candidates define motivations for pursuing an MBA, articulate career progression logic, and align post-MBA goals with the strengths of the target programs. Essay developed at this stage emphasize logical flow, clarity of thought, and evidence-backed storytelling rather than superficial claims of ambitions. Starting early allows candidates to refine articulation quality through multiple iterations, improving both clarity and persuasiveness. Video essays and short answered responses also benefit from structured preparation as candidates develop confidence in communicating motivations consistently. The stronger narrative architecture enhances the consistency across application components, strengthening the overall perception of maturity and preparedness. July focus would be on essay refinement and documentation alignment. We focus on iterative refinement of essays to improve clarity, structure, and persuasive strength. School-specific customization demonstrates research depth and alignment with institutional values, strengthening perceived program fit. Scholarship essays highlight contribution potential and leadership mindset, reinforcing the differentiation within the competitive applicant pools. Alignment across CV, essays, and letter of recommendations ensures the application presents a unified professional identity. Mock interviews further refine communication clarity, allowing candidates to articulate motivations with confidence and precision. Iterative refinement improves narrative sophistication, enabling the candidates to present structured and compelling positioning across the schools. That's exactly what we would be doing in the month of July. August focus would be on finalization, review, and strategic submission. August is dedicated to ensuring narrative consistency and professional presentation across all application documents. Proofreading improves clarity, removes redundancy, and ensures language precision across essays. Secondary reviews confirm alignment between the positioning themes and career logic, reducing the risk of fragmented storytelling across multiple schools. Interview preparation frameworks enable candidates to communicate experiences with structured clarity and confidence. Submitting applications before deadline signals preparation, discipline, and seriousness of intent, which positively influences admissions perception. Structured finalization ensures that each document reinforces the same core narrative themes. So ideally, why should we be applying earlier? Seat intake is high, scholarship options are more, and you can always use the later rounds as the backup plan if you're more ambitious, if you need more admissions with more scholarships and so on. Scholarship committees evaluate many of the same dimensions considered by admission committees, including leadership potential and contribution mindset, clarity of direction, and intellectual engagement. Candidates who invest time in profile building demonstrate initiative and seriousness valued in merit based funding decisions. Stronger narrative increases the likelihood of scholarship considerations, improving return on investment for the MBA journey. Round 1 applicants benefit from higher availability of scholarship funds compared to the later rounds, and early preparation therefore influences not only admission probability but also financial outcomes. Candidates who demonstrate multidimensional depth and coherent career vision often receive stronger scholarship consideration, making early preparation strategically advantageous. What is a final strategic insight? The difference between an average application and a compelling one rarely lies in writing ability alone. It lies in preparation depth. 6 months of structured preparation significantly improves clarity of goals, depth of leadership examples, and coherence of narrative positioning. Candidates who invest time early demonstrate intellectual maturity and disciplined thinking, qualities valued by the top MBA programs. Preparation depth creates confidence, and confidence improves articulation, and strong articulation strengthens the perceived readiness for the leadership environments. Candidates who begin early consistently demonstrate stronger interview performance, high scholarship probability, and more confident application outcomes. Early preparation therefore becomes a structural advantage in highly competitive applicant pools, especially if you're targeting the top 50 programs in the world. If your GMAT is scheduled for April or May, this is precisely the window where strategic applicant begin profile structure, because once June begins, the focus shifts almost entirely to execution across multiple documents and schools, and candidates who begin early or not rushed later, and they are refined. Even dedicating 2 to 3 hours a week between March and April and May can significantly influence how your profile is perceived globally. Admission committee do not reward last minute intensity, they reward consistent intentionality and clarity of direction and demonstrated initiative over time. Strong applicants prepare for the GMAT, but elite applicants prepare for the applications before the GMAT, and this is exactly the main purpose of the pre-GMAT activities webinar session. And at the application stage, the difference between an average submission and a compelling submission lies in the level of precision applied to each component. A strong CV is not a list of responsibilities, it is carefully constructed document that demonstrates measurable impact, leadership exposure, and progression over time. Every bullet point must communicate initiative, ownership, and outcomes using action-oriented language aligned with the expectations of global business schools. Essays require a similar structured approach. Strong essays are not written in isolation. They are developed through iterative brainstorming that clarifies motivation, identifies defining experiencing, and aligns career aspirations with program strengths. Letter of recommendation must reinforce the same positioning themes highlighted in essays, ensuring consistency across documents. When CV, essays, and letter of recommendations communicate complementary strengths, the application presents a unified professional identity that significantly improves the credibility in the whole evaluation process. And not just that, MBA application extend beyond documentation drafting. Interview preparation requires structured frameworks that helps candidates communicate their experiences with clarity and confidence. Mock interviews simulate real evaluation environments, enabling applicants to refine articulation, body language, and response structure. Detailed feedback helps candidates identify the gaps in the communication clarity and strengthen storytelling effectiveness. School selection also plays a critical strategic role, and identifying programs aligned with career goals, academic strengths, and cultural fit strengthens improving the admission probability. Application reviews ensure consistency across CVs, essays, and letter of recommendations, reducing the risk of contradictory messaging. Scholarship essays guidance will help the candidates articulate the contribution potential effectively, improving the funding outcomes. And the post-admit support further ensures a smooth transition into the MBA journey, reinforcing the long-term success beyond the admission. And strong applications require multiple layers of reviews to ensure intellectual consistency and narrative perception. So dedicated mock interviews conducted by the alumni provide insights into the evaluation expectations and helps the candidates refine the structured communication. LinkedIn profile optimization strengthens professional branding, ensuring consistency between the public presence and the application positioning. And the scholarship essay drafting focuses on articulating differentiated value propositions aligned with the institutional priorities. Application quality audits provide an additional layer of strategic review, ensuring alignment across essays, CV, and recommendations. Unlimited edits ensure each document evolves through multiple iterations, allowing refinement of clarity, structure, and the persuasive impact. This layered review structure significantly will strengthen the overall quality of your submissions. So, what is the investment that you're looking at with LeapQuest? Applying to the top MBA programs represent a strategic investment in long-term career acceleration. Selecting the right portfolio of schools requires balancing ambition with probability, ensuring a structured mix of aspirational, competitive, and safe programs. Each application represents significant intellectual effort, requiring tailored essays, CV adjustments, and recommendation alignment. A structured application strategy ensures optimal allocations of effort across the schools with varying competitive levels. And these are the prices that we are charging right now. So let's say you're planning to take a one school package, it would be at 50 grand, two schools at 90K, and three schools at 1,40,000, and five schools at 2 lakhs, and eight schools at 3 lakhs, all inclusive of GST. And it's not just helping you apply, it's a combination of college shortlisting, profile building, application support, and submission within the deadline date, followed by interview preparation, wherein you'd be given 3 mock interviews, followed by scholarship assistance, and these are all pre-admission process. Now, what is also included in the same package is the post-admission process. Any external funding options that you require, it will be provided. We would be helping you negotiate with the schools, and will be assisting with mock visa interviews and any assistance you need in terms of social media vetting. All of that would be included for every package. Ideally, the ones who are looking at, let's say, one or two schools packages are looking at, the programs that they were previously applied, basically the reapplicants. Somebody's looking at smaller countries like India, Singapore, Canada, go up to 3 colleges. Somebody's looking at a bigger country like Europe or even US, a minimum of 5 schools is recommended. Somebody's looking at a combination of 2 to 3 countries like US and Europe, or Europe and Asia, or Asia and US, right? 5 to 8 programs is recommended. Ideally, the overall conversion should be like this. You apply to 5 programs, get 3 to 4 interview invites, and 2 to 3 solid admissions. And if you're more ambitious, you can explore the round 2 or the round 3 deadlines by applying to a few more colleges. That should be the strategy. So you'd be getting a 4-member team from LeapQuest. A structured support ecosystem significantly improves the efficiency and the effectiveness of the application process. So the head consultants provide the strategic direction, ensuring alignment between the career goals and the school positioning. The mentor introduces an additional layer of intellectual review, strengthening the narrative coherence across the documents. The essay editor refines the articulation quality, ensuring clarity and persuasive strength in written communication, and a dedicated point of contact will be in constant touch with you. Ensures seamless coordination across the application milestones, maintaining momentum and accountability throughout the process. This structured team approach enables candidates to focus on professional responsibilities while maintaining consistent progress in the application preparation also. So how does the school selection work? So selecting the right mix of schools requires a deep understanding of the class profile, employment outcomes, and the institutional culture. Each program evaluates candidates through specific lenses, including leadership philosophy, industry strengths, and collaborative learning environment. Strategic school selection ensures an alignment between the candidate aspirations and the institutional's offerings, improving both admission probability and the post-MBA outcomes. Balanced selection across reach, target, and safe school optimizes the probability of securing multiple admits, and cultural fit evaluation ensures candidates apply to programs where they are most likely to thrive academically and even professionally. Structured school selection significantly reduces randomness in the application process, enabling more predictable and strategically aligned outcomes. So, what are your next steps? MBA preparation becomes significantly more manageable when structured into consistent weekly effort. So, dedicating 2 to 3 hours a week between March, April, and May enables candidates to build leadership exposure, strengthen intellectual positioning, and clarify career direction without the overwhelming professional schedules. This is the pre-GMAT, and small consistent effort compounds into significantly narrative strength over time. So scheduling a profile evaluation will allow a candidate to understand their current positioning relative to target school. So early engagement ensures sufficient time to develop meaningful experiences that strengthen application credibility. And structured preparation creates clarity, and clarity improves confidence during the application phase. So you can reach out to us. You can visit us on our website, theleapquest.com, and there is a profile evaluation form. You can just click on contact us and fill up the form, and we will be more than happy to have a one-on-one session with you, and we will give you a plan of action that is relevant to your profile and the kind of colleges that you're planning to apply. Let's take that leap together, guys. The MBA journey represents a strategic step towards the accelerated professional growth, expanded global exposure, and increased leadership responsibility. And early clarity allows the candidates to approach the applications with confidence rather than urgency. So the next step is simple. Begin the conversation early. A structured profile evaluation provides the clarity regarding positioning, preparation strategy, and the school selection logic. With the right preparation framework, the MBA journey becomes a strategic progression rather than a stressful process. The objective is to not simply to apply, the objective is to apply with conviction, clarity, and competitive strength. So it'll be waiting for you. You can reach out to us, and for you to have a better understanding with respect to all our recent admissions and everything, the planner that we have for the 2027 intake, the pre-GMAT and the post-GMAT activities, the profile building. You can reach out to us. We'll be sharing all the information, and you can have a look into all our recent admits. And also, if you go through the other videos that we have on YouTube, so many of your aspirants, like with higher GMAT, lower GMAT, getting into the top 50 MBA programs, they've shared their feedback. They're a part of our MBA community right now, and they'll also get involved during the process. So yes, I think right now you have that time in hand, and you need to utilize each and every day. So 3 months effective now, March, April, and May, is ideally the game changer, and not just it'll trigger an admission but also scholarships. I'm sure that it added some value to your entire applications journey, this session, and we would come back with another interesting topic and try to give you as much as information as possible. All the best, guys. Thank you so much. Take care.